serving up a dose of wisdom and humor with a dash of radiance. Welcome to Biscuits and Sunshine with your hosts, Callie and Landra.
Hey y'all, pull up a seat at our table for your next serving of Biscuits and Sunshine. I'm Callie.
And I'm Landra. We're delighted you're here with us. We're recording this from Distant Sport Audio Studios in Athens, Greece. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 1. Fame, let's go.
Wow, Season 3.
Woo! It has been a while since we've been in the studio together.
It has been far too long. It feels so good to be back.
It does.
And I think we've sort of both had a wild ride over these past 6 months.
We have. My goodness, so much has transpired. And what I want to say, and I know we'll kind of unpack it a little bit, is that, yeah, life was lifing. A lot of stuff, some curveballs came in. And what I'm really proud of us for is really taking the pause, giving ourselves the luxury of time that we needed. Not to say that we weren't still talking about Biscuits and Sunshine and kind of doing some behind the scenes work, but in starting this project, we really wanted to let this be a sense of creativity and something more in our feminine flow, that we weren't like pushing because we have to do, a certain timeline and certain numbers, just that kind of more like that masculine push, that has worked well for us in life. But, it's like, how do we find a little more balance in that?
I even think you and I sort of struggled between the two of us because we come from the world of KPIs and deadlines and trying to hit metrics and goals. And the reality is that if you're not posting consistently, there are some things that are lost. We live in a world of algorithms and we can't get around that. But I am proud of us that we honored the purpose of this. We stayed in community with each other.
Mm-hmm.
We consistently focused on the community we wanted to build. And I think that we did great background work these past 6 months.
Absolutely. And I just want to say to everybody listening, that was listening before, we really missed you. And it meant a lot for those of you that reached out and said, hey, what's going on? When's the next episode? And giving those loving nudges, it just meant the world to me. And it was like, oh yeah, right. This is why we do this.
We always talk about our sort of tribe of women that we've cultivated. And it was such a moment for me when I had someone repeat back to me some quotes that we had made in the first and second season of Biscuits and Sunshine. Because we're talking about life and we're talking about changes and sort of everything that's transpired over the past half of year. And a friend of ours said to me, I remember you saying this one thing on a podcast I was listening to recently, and I just think it's worth you hearing yourself again. And she said, I was just kind of blown away that A, people were still listening to us. We're super grateful. But B, that there's this record now of these thoughts and these moments that we had these past 2 years. And I'm so excited to bring more of those moments together now in the third season and moving forward.
I love that. And if you're a newer listener tuning in, we're so glad you found us and that you're here. So come along for the journey, for the ride.
If you want to learn a little bit more about us, you can check us out online, on social, and on our website. We also re-released our first few episodes not just 4 weeks ago, and so be able to find them if you scroll back just a little bit. We've referenced now a couple times the pause that we took last year, and I think we owe it to you guys and I think to ourselves because we've also been apart a significant amount of that time, just to touch base on what's been happening in our lives during that time.
Yeah. It's interesting because different but similar in the sense of I think we've really been learning how to navigate life between two places, both here in Greece and then back in the States. So what took me back, not in a planful way, is to help with my mom and her care. So found out that she needed a hip surgery and really in the moment, it was like, hey, on a Thursday, this happened. I'm going to have surgery in the next couple of days. So it was like, okay, pause, get myself on a plane, get there. Thought it would be maybe a month. And I ended up being there for 4 months.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So, what I would say about that is any of us, we know when family, needs us, we're there. My dad died a few years ago. And so of course my mom was always on my heart and mind, but I was like, no questions asked. Yeah. Anything that I'm working on needs to pause and I need to be there for her. So it was everything from the surgery to her being in a rehab facility to kind of, just helping her with life. And so I'm so grateful that I have the ability to be able to do that. And what I will say, I guess, in me sharing this is that, it's easy, especially on social media, for people to go, "Oh, I just wanna move to a foreign country," and to think that everything is just so easy. These are the trade-offs. So being so far away, this was really challenging, and I knew that there was a certain point that I had to help her get to, in her care and her confidence and feeling and knowing that she was gonna be okay and taken care of. And so this is one of those, like, harder kinda behind the scenes moments, if you will, in this international living. So, yeah, so that's really kinda what took my attention and my time and my energy and my physical body away from Athens and back to California.
In spending those 4 months in the US, which were unexpected to say the least, tell us a little bit about how you were feeling and sort of what you did to help yourself navigate those times.
Mm. It definitely felt reactionary at first, and very much like all hands on deck. And it was really weird because she was already in the hospital, so I had to just jump right on in and then jet lag on top of that. It was, like, disorienting. And all that I know that I've been through, my dad and also, a cousin in the past when I've had to kinda be that, like, main person who is healthy and helping, in the past, I think I kind of was like, give everything, and I knew that I had to really resource myself and take care of myself, and so what I learned in that was when people offered help, I was like, "Yep, I need it, and this is what I need." I wrote little mantras for myself, and one of them was, "Do not abandon yourself." And so what that meant for me was like, instead of just waking up and like rushing over, say when she was in the care facility, it was no, like reminding myself, and she would even say it too, like she has the care she needs right now. You take that extra hour to do what you need to do so that you can show up as the best version of yourself. Beginning my mornings from a more restorative place. So, good nutrition, hydrating. It was a time of year where it was beautiful weather, so out back in the sun. I actually got a trainer while I was there, realizing I was gonna be there for many more months, so getting back into circuit training really was really good for me.
Watching you navigate those months this time versus when you went back to help care for your dad, I was so proud as a friend because I could see you really honoring the things that were important to you, movement and time in nature, and really carving out that space so that you didn't abandon yourself. And I think that is a major message for people who find themselves consistently in an advocacy role
Mm,
where they sometimes have to be the voice and the sounding board and the rationale
mm.
and sort of everything for someone else. Being able to, even if it's just small moments of time, those can work wonders as the days and the weeks and the months wear on.
Yeah, and that's the thing I really have been thinking a lot about and have a project I wanna create, I think something for caregivers. Having been through it, lived experience on my own, it has to be those micro moments because even I think about this so much about people with children and, people with aging parents, and then people, like I said, with something was really a health issue kinda came up. Um, you can't say, "Oh, go to a class," always, right? It's micro moments when somebody's in, like, an appointment that maybe you dropped them off and you have time in a waiting room or have time somebody's there to step outside. They are just little micro things you can do, and as the days go on, if we can insert just a few of those, it helps us be able to be more restored throughout the day.
For me, that was a huge takeaway in watching you do this. So I'm glad that you were able to share that with our listeners.
Thank you.
I too found myself in the US quite a bunch this fall. Last summer, I was diagnosed with endometriosis, unbeknownst to myself. And so that sort of changed the trajectory of what I thought 2025 would look like. Endometriosis is evaluated in stages 1 through 4, very similar to cancer, which can sound terrifying. And I, lucky me, have stage 4, which is the worst, which means like the endometriosis tissue is pretty widespread throughout, let's say, my abdomen and maybe even other places of my body. And so surgery was like one of the first things that we spoke about with a doctor. And so I was back and forth in the US, meeting with different doctors, trying to find the right route, trying to consider whether or not surgery was what we wanted to do. And I am grateful to say that I did have a successful surgery in November, and I'm so happy that I did. I feel so much better. It's almost like I didn't even really know. I had no concrete reason as to why I was feeling so terrible. And once I got the diagnosis, things make sense, but you are never sure if a surgery or a plan of action is going to solve something. And it'll never go away. I'll have it the rest of my life. But in this moment, post-surgery, I just feel so much better. My body feels so much more normal and like my own. I'm very grateful for that.
And as your friend, I'm so glad that you took the time to take care of yourself, because I know this was something that at any time that comes up that can feel so inconvenient. And you also did a lot of good research. You, yes, went to the US to have this procedure, but here in Greece, you also saw a doctor.
True.
Yeah. So I think what it was nice to see is you kind of cast your net wide and get second opinions, and then also to get a sense of what felt most comfortable for you, where to have the surgery.
I'm so grateful for the doctor that I found. A shout out to my brother who gave me some great recommendations on some doctors in Alabama, because he was just phenomenal, like so calming. Everyone on his staff was great. I've never had major surgery before, so this was a totally new experience, uncharted territory. And I could like feel myself getting more anxious the closer we got. And we had the surgery about 90 minutes away from where my parents live, so I had to drive up that morning, and we had to leave super early, and you can't eat after midnight. And so I remember like thinking this wave was going to crest and anxiety was just going to drop on me and I was going to have a panic attack, but I didn't, thank God. I never have, thank God. Because everyone was so nice, and I think it's refreshing to come across people, and maybe you've experienced this with your mom's care, to come across people who you know are in the right position and in the right role. Like they were made to do this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I feel that way about the nursing staff and the doctor. So that took a lot of my energy in the fall. But I did get to spend a lot of time with my family and my loved ones. And my parents took care of me. And I think everyone was in their role and everyone was happy. So I have no complaints, you know? Now, I did spend way more time in the US than I anticipated. It is going to get me on my taxes. I don't care.
I agree with the sense of more family time was great. Has been there 4 months. I had a lot more FaceTime with different family members, and even met some more baby cousins that I hadn't met before, which was really, really sweet as always.
You know, that's the part that you don't see about living abroad. It's like everyone sees the romantic sunsets and they see the novelty of exploring new cities, but they don't see us like sitting in our beds at night thinking, I'm afraid to go to sleep because I don't know what's going to happen overnight. Or I missed another birthday. Or my oldest niece has gotten into theater and I'm a huge theater kid. The other day, they did the show Newsies at her school. And it's like a Christian Bale musical, 90s era, incredible. My favorite. I know every word, every lyric. We watched it when I was home for Christmas. But I missed the show and it kills me that I did. But I was able to message with her and my parents sent me videos. She was so happy. So I feel like in my way, I tried to let her know that I was there with her in spirit, but I know I can never get that experience back. So there's always this give and take when you make a decision to live abroad.
Yeah, for sure. I might have mentioned before, but I had living in San Francisco, a dear college friend, June, and he's married and has 2 girls. And just before we moved here, they moved to Hawaii, and I used to babysit the little ones, both of them. And the littlest one was still like pretty much like really young, like 2 or 3. So they happened to be back in the Bay Area. So we made a plan, we met up, and the littlest one was like, I don't remember you. And I was like, oh. And then, but as our time went on, I was like, Will remember me now. And she's like, I know. And we actually ended up getting bracelets that I was like, these are like our friendship bracelets, because being so far in Hawaii, we're all the way here in Athens. And guys, her name is Athena. So it's just like really adorable. I was telling her how about the city is named, you know, that like essentially she's named after a famous city. So yeah, so I wear it. This is Callie, you could see it. I have a little bracelet, multicolored.
Oh,
but
cute.
yeah, I think of them. They're so far away, 12-hour time difference. So when it's day there, it's night here and vice versa. So
makes it hard.
Yeah. So that was another little moment of sweetness. And I think that's another, I would say, learning I take away is that feel the things that are hard, don't like push them away, because when the joy comes up, it makes the joy so much sweeter.
It
That's
does.
really what I found.
It
Yeah.
does. I was able to spend a lot of time with some of my really close friends. And when I came back in February to Greece, I was talking to them on the phone, and my friend said to me, "Oh, like their daughter's walking around the house saying, 'We lost Callie. We lost her. We
Aw,
lost her.'" Which gave everybody a good laugh. And it kind of shows you it doesn't take a lot of time to form relationship. So it will be there. We just have to be intentional about creating it.
absolutely.
Tell me something. I know that we worked a bit on Biscuits and Sunshine during these months that we were apart, and we have really been able to sort of set ourselves up for success for this third season. Tell me something that you've been quietly working through that people wouldn't see from the outside.
I would say it's been around relinquishing control and future planning. My mom
Mm,
is stable.
thank God.
Yeah, yeah. And I've been back at the Christmas time. So I was gone for 4 months, came back to Greece for like another 4 to 5 months, went back again. That's kind of the rhythm that I'm in right now. And so I love to plan. I love to kind of think about summer, and like, and people are asking, what are you going to do for this holiday and that holiday? And I'm like, I don't know until it gets closer. And so really quietly working on just being okay with being right here now and not overly catastrophizing, and also not trying to overly like hold on to this is what the next whatever is going to look like. What
So
about for you? Is there anything you've been quietly working through?
I am really trying hard to honor my femininity. I feel like living alone for so long, I do a lot of work in that sort of aggressive, like masculine space because things have to get done. But in being home, I realize that I'm a part of this much larger ecosystem of family, and I don't have to do everything by myself. And so I think for me, recognizing that allows me to maybe settle back into the softer bits of my soul and trying to really honor that so that I can be more authentically who I am. I don't know what that looks like. I'm just in a similar way to you, like future planning is somewhat difficult because I don't know how life looks in the next 6 to 8 months. I'm spending a lot of time going back and forth. And I want to plan and I want a summer and like I want to furnish this new house because, oh, I moved and it was an ordeal and I've lost friendships and gained new ones. It's just a lot of things have changed and I don't know. And that's frustrating. But I really want to honor myself and try to, through that frustration and through that uncertainty, still be soft.
Mm.
That's my goal. That's my goal for the year. I know we're in fire horse energy, but I hope that the flame that can harden and or melt, I hope I'm on the melting side of things.
Mm. Yeah. And it's interesting you said the fire horse. People, there was so much buzz around it. It's coming. Oh my God, it's going to be so much. And I'm like, I kind of feel like I'm on a fire horse. So, like, if anything, I was a little scared of it.
No, please.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm kind of like, whoa. So, yeah, that just made me think of that when you said that.
Well, reconnecting again and sort of getting back into the rhythm of recording, I feel very confident that whatever direction the fire horse runs, we're going to hold on with both hands. There's no doubt in my mind that we are going to have an exceptional year.
I agree. I agree, friend. And as we wrap up this episode, I'm curious to know, is there something that you feel hopeful about right now?
Oh, yeah. I have a lot of things to be hopeful for. There are a couple of business ideas that I'm seeing being birthed right now, and they are things that I'm really excited about. I've got relationship potential. I've got like connection and family. I just am overall really excited about what the future holds. I don't know what it looks like, but I know I'm excited for it to come.
I love that.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, I think it's just being in the place of attracting the right people and the right opportunities, because I felt like there was so much that was like stopping or ending. And I already see that happening. It's really interesting just kind of thinking about what my energy has been like. I'm feeling that sense of creativity, being out in the world more, just looking me more open for opportunity, and now how realizing how things are popping up and people are popping up. So I'm just hopeful. I don't know exactly. It's like I'm committed to more creativity, to more getting more out in the world, but I'm not attached to having to look a certain way.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to see how things unfold.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we hope that you too are excited about the future because we're happy that you're here and we're excited to have you along for this incredible adventure. We want to thank our families, our friends, and you guys, our ever-growing tribe of like-minded individuals. As always, a big thanks to Alex at Distant Sport Audio and to Bob at IB Dog Music for their audio and video expertise.
If you love what we're serving up, be sure to subscribe and rate us on your favorite streaming platform. We're proud to say that you can now find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and YouTube.
Our hope for you this week is that you remember to check in with yourself and don't be afraid to ask for support.
This is Biscuits and Sunshine with Callie and Landra.